The wind did not return gently. It came back with force, tearing through the land, bending trees and lifting dust into the air as if the world itself was being shaken awake. Zaria stood frozen, her eyes fixed ahead, but she was no longer seeing her village. The mark on her hand burned brighter than ever, spreading through her body like something alive, something no longer waiting. The voice was no longer distant. It was inside her now, closer than her own thoughts, calling her in a way she could not resist. Come. Far away, at the center of the 7 kingdoms, the ground continued to split open. What began as cracks had become something far worse, stretching deeper and wider as darkness slowly rose from beneath the earth. It was not like smoke or shadow. It was heavier, thicker, alive in a way nothing should be. The kings stood before the ancient thrones, their power meaningless now. The glowing symbols beneath them flickered as if the pact itself was breaking apart. And in that moment, the truth they had buried for generations could no longer be denied. They had never been protecting their kingdoms. They had been feeding something. And now, it was awake. Back in her village, Zaria fell to her knees as visions overwhelmed her, stronger than anything she had ever experienced. She saw the thrones, the blood, the kings, and then something more. Something they had never spoken of. There were not 7. There had never been 7. There were 8. The last one did not sit above the earth. It waited beneath it, watching, growing, hungry. The vision tightened around her as she saw the moment the pact was made, not as a promise, but as a bargain. Life for silence. Blood for sleep. And now the silence had been broken. Zaria's body moved before she could stop it. One step, then another, drawn forward by something deeper than fear. Something calling her not as a stranger, but as something it already knew. The village behind her fell into silence as she walked, not empty, but still, as if even the air was watching her leave. Shadows stretched along the ground, sliding between trees and climbing walls, moving in ways no shadow should. They followed her, never close enough to touch, but never far enough to lose her. The mark paused again, stronger this time, and the world around her disappeared. She stood at the center of the kingdoms. Before the thrones. Up close, they were not as the stories described them. They were older, worn, cracked, and stained with something far deeper than blood. The ground beneath them moved, not breaking, but breathing, slow and heavy, as if something enormous lay just below. Then the ground split open. Darkness rose again, forming shapes that twisted and shifted, almost human, but never fully becoming. Zaria tried to step back, but she couldn't. The mark burned hotter, forcing her forward, closer to the presence rising from below. And then everything stopped. The movement. The sound. Even the air itself. The darkness turned toward her, not with eyes, but with awareness. It was looking at her. Recognizing her. The mark flared violently as the truth forced its way into her mind. The pact had never been about balance. It had never been about peace. It had been about control. The kings had not only fed it. They had bound it, weakened it, kept it asleep. And now, it was no longer weak. You carry what they stole from me. The voice was clear now, ancient and impossible to ignore. Zaria's breath caught as the realization settled inside her. The mark was not hers. It had been taken from the very thing rising beneath the earth and hidden inside her before she was even born. The darkness surged forward, the ground cracking wider as the world trembled around them. If it took the mark back, it would be whole again. Nothing would be able to stop it. For a moment, Zaria almost let it happen. Because she understood. Its pain. Its anger. Its truth. But then she thought of the people. The lives already lost. The ones who would disappear next if it rose completely. She closed her eyes. And for the first time, she chose. The mark responded instantly, no longer pulling her, but moving with her. Light burst from her hand, bright and overwhelming, pushing back against the rising darkness as it surged toward her at the same time. The two forces collided. And then, silence. Not emptiness. Not peace. Something deeper. When the light faded, the ground had stopped breaking. The sky slowly began to lose its red, and the wind disappeared as if it had never been there at all. Zaria stood alone. The mark on her hand was gone. As if it had never existed. Far beneath the earth, the presence remained. Not destroyed, not gone, but no longer rising, no longer reaching. Quiet. Zaria looked down at her hand and understood. She had not freed it. And she had not destroyed it. She had taken its power and sealed it within herself. A new pact. One that did not require blood. One that did not demand sacrifice. Across the kingdoms, the shadows vanished. The silence lifted. Slowly, the world began to breathe again. But deep beneath the earth, something still remained. Waiting. Not for freedom. Not for revenge. But for her. And this time, it was not calling.